data set that pops up, as well as a second sheet which they label it as output. This output is where the results will show. You can always save this, save as, and go ahead and save it to wherever you want to save it. You can also change the name. So let's begin the analysis. If you were to turn to page 321, you would see question 1, which asks, determine what variables are categorical, either nominal or ordinal. How do you do that? The most straightforward way is to look at the measures over here. Nominal, ordinal. So these are the type of items that the question is asking for. So we're going to do a descriptive analysis. Under Descriptive Statistics, under Analyze, you go to Descriptive Statistics, go to Frequencies, click on it, and then you will pick the items that falls into the category of categorical. So they have measures that are categorical. So this. And one tip, if you want to click on all the variables on the bottom, what you have to do is first click on one, so it highlights. You press down your control button on your keyboard and it goes like that. And then you just bring it across. Okay, now you double check that everything is labeled ordinal or nominal. It's brought over this side, the variables. These are the steps that is the basic steps that you always will encounter. So whatever analysis, you always have to bring over the variables from the left side box to the right side box. Now, we're gonna do descriptive statistics, this descriptive analysis. So when you do have a descriptive analysis, you need to compute the mean and the standard deviation. These are all the appropriate descriptive statistics. The mean, as you have read already, describes the central tendency to each question. And then the standard deviation will indicate the amount of variability in the responses. Now, where do we find mean and standard deviation? Click on Statistics. You see mean here, central tendency, so what is the average? And dispersion, standard deviation. So how far is it from the average? So if people were to see more or see less, eat more, eat less, how much of a difference that is? That's the standard deviation. And click OK. Remember, you need to check box display frequency table because that's the results. You click OK. Here you would see a frequency table, which is also called a descriptive analysis. You have many tables here because those items that you just moved over to the right box is what is produced over here. Okay, let's look at each box. So you would see frequency, percent, valid percent, and cumulative percent. You must be thinking, what's the difference between percent and valid percent? Percent includes all the percentages of each item, including the missing value. Valid percent, on the other hand, calculates the missing value into those values that are present. So let's see, 3.8%. Out of 400 people, 15 people did not answer this question. Only 385 people answered this question. Those who don't answer are classified under missing. But you want to know how many of them are missing, you will see this percentage, 3.8. Valid percent would include this missing value into the items that are present, questions that are being answered, and then so they just average it out and then put the percentage beside each item. Cumulative percent talks about accumulation, just like the name say. So you were to say, look at this example, 37.4 it means that they are combining 17.1 and 20.3. So you don't have to do the calculation, they do it for you. If you want to add these 3 items together, it would produce a total of 78.7. And then these 4 items, it will total up to 100%. Now, we're going to talk about the mean and the standard deviation, since that's what the question is asking for. Let's say, for example, we look at this category. Which newscast do you watch most often? There's a mean of 3.36. Okay, let's scroll down to that question. Which newscast? Okay, so this is the question. Which newscast do you watch most frequently? The mean says 3.36. So what that means is the average number of respondent watches the news is between the 6 p.m. time slot and the 10 p.m. time slot. So the average number of people who watches news are around this time, or rather they choose this newscast to watch. So if you can see the percentages, these are the highest amongst the rest. Well, for standard deviation, looking at the same question, is 0.882. That means the average was 3.36, so it's in between the 6 p.m. newscast and the 10 p.m. newscast. So from that average, you want to see how far is it from the next option, and 0.882 gives you an estimate, so it's not really big. So this would tell you, in order to see how it looks like visually, you would have to plot a bell curve. And if a bell curve has a very sharp peak, then that would say that the distance between each other is really small. Whereas if the bell curve looks like a flat line, then that would mean that the variance, the standard deviation, is large or big. The distance between the average and the next possible answer would be far apart. Okay, I'll leave the second question to you. The second question asks for scale variables, which are asking for variables that fall into the category of scale. So what are scale variables? Scale variables are those variables that are considered in interval or ratio scales. Interval scales are scales that have like a 7-point scale. You have from dissatisfied to satisfied, very, very satisfied, or very dissatisfied, strongly agree to strongly disagree. So it's normally on a 7-point scale, which we call a Likert scale. A ratio, on the other hand, is the measurement of length. So disregarding any philosophical points about defining how we can identify the zero length. For example, of a ratio scale would be a centigrade. So the 0 point, so what is the temperature, like Fahrenheit? There is no absolute 0 point. There's always something below 0. And so ratio pretty much is talking about, whether you're trying to find out the true 0 point. So this ratio, when items like centigrade or like age falls into the category, then you would, or not age but year born, then you would talk about, you would use the ratio scale. Okay, go ahead and attempt question 2, and if you have questions, please let me know. But if the video is too fast for you, you can stop it and then rewind it. Thank you!